April is STI Awareness Month, which means it's the right time to highlight the importance of HIV education and prevention tools such as PrEP.
Joining us now to share how they're breaking down stigma and barriers to care is Rhea Battle, clinical pharmacist at AvitaCare Atlanta. Welcome, Rhea. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate you being here. Now, HIV, as we know, remains a global epidemic despite advances in science, advances in medication as well. Can you just talk about why that is and some of the current challenges?
First, I'll talk about the stigma associated with HIV. It definitely prevents people from going out, getting tested, and getting to know their HIV status. In addition to that, it also prevents people from seeking care who are infected with HIV. Both of these things contribute to the spread of HIV in our communities. So it's very important that we remove this stigma around HIV and have healthy conversations about HIV so people are more comfortable with seeking help with treatment as well as prevention.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into PrEP. So let's break this down for our viewers. Why is this such an important tool for helping the fight against HIV, and what really has changed over the years?
PrEP is an amazing tool. There's been advancements that now we have both injectable and oral PrEP medications available. The best thing about PrEP is, if taken as prescribed, it is 99% effective at reducing the risk of HIV transmission through sexual transmission. So this is a great step in helping us fight against the AIDS epidemic.
Yes. Could you go a little bit deeper into PrEP too? Because some people are still unfamiliar with what it even is, and if you can describe how injectables even work.
Okay, so PrEP stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis, and this is a group of medications that are used for the prevention of HIV transmission. Injectable PrEP is an intramuscular injection you receive at your doctor's office. The great thing about PrEP is, injectable at least, it's every 2 months that you get this injection. There is a new kid on the block that's seeking FDA approval right now that's a every 6-month injection.
Oh, wow.
So big advancements.
That's huge.
Yeah. And then, as you stated earlier, we have oral PrEP, which are oral tablets that you can take every day, and those are also used to prevent HIV transmission as well.
Yeah, certainly a lot of resources you guys have available, but sometimes a major barrier is cost.
Yep.
So would you kind of break down what that looks like? You guys make it very, very affordable for those who are watching right now. So talk about that.
Yeah, so right now, insurance companies are mandated to cover certain preventative care services. PrEP does fall under that umbrella of preventative services. So some insurance companies will cover injectable PrEP and oral PrEP at zero cost to people. Other insurance companies, there are some costs associated with injectable PrEP in particular. But at AvitaCare Atlanta, we do have a team that's specifically dedicated to helping people find resources to get affordable coverage to whatever type of PrEP medication that fits their lifestyle.
Yeah, so important. So check with insurance.
Yes.
Check with AvitaCare.
Absolutely. Hello. There we go. Thank you so much, Rhea, for being here. And if you'd like to check with AvitaCare, you can find more information by visiting AvitaCareAtlanta.com. Thank you again.
Thank you.